Good afternoon. It's me and OMONDI. We've got a lot to digest. This is the Man United agenda. Monday, it's supposed to be a time of festive cheer where we're walking around with smiles on our faces, but Man United have done it to me again, man. They've wiped that smile clean off my face, man. How you feeling?
I'm good. I've had a good holidays. Been a bit fluish, but I'm back to almost full fitness, unlike some of our boys, according to you. So, yeah, how are you feeling?
I'm good, man. I just got a lot to get off my chest, man. And I needed a partner in crime. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I've got the psychiatrist couch. I hope you're laying down and comfortable. Tell me all about it, Mr. B. So what are we discussing today?
Where to start? All right. Title of the show. First things first. Are these players too lazy to cope with Rangnick? Do they not want to run? Do they not want to work? These are questions I'm putting to you. Are they not interested in? Are they just more interested in earning £800,000 a week and not having to put any effort in? I'm really confused by what I'm seeing at the moment.
Well, I think this question's important question to raise. Obviously, we have to. We're new to this reign of Ralph. We have to assess every game and our development and see how we're getting along. And these questions weren't really raised that much after the first two games, the 1-0s. Even though we didn't really scrape the game, I think we controlled the game against Palace. Quite vulnerable we looked against Norwich, but we got the 3 points. The only issue here is I think because we're Man United, we dropped points against Newcastle, who are down maybe in 19th and struggling. And we didn't look great the other day. And so I think it's important. We can assess the game by the eye test, but I think it's important to also look to see what the manager says about it and what the feedback's coming out of the club. So from my perspective, I think the manager said something about the physicality at the right times and the tempo was off. And then Harry Maguire said something about maybe because of COVID being rusty, because you think we got more time to train, we should be performing better under the system. And then I've seen some body language on the pitch as well from likes of Ronaldo, a misplaced pass from Rashford, for example. And he's, looks like he's stropping and upset about it. Maybe that's because he doesn't rate Rashford. Maybe that's because he wants the standards to be raised all round. And then apparently he walked off the pitch without applauding the fans, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of question marks, but I always go directly to the manager, and it's about the physicality. And maybe, so you're right to ask, are the players not able to meet the match the physicality levels that he requires? And when I say physicality, I mean about running, sprints, the drills, keeping up with the press, that kind of thing. Not necessarily weights or how much you can bench press. It's I think it's to do with other factors there, which are key for Rangnick's style. So in my response, I think from watching the other day, I didn't see a lack of effort. I'm seeing players trying to work, but what I did see, the main issue for me was not physicality. It was about putting players in positions that they can't handle. For example, Rashford. In this Premiership, you don't have time to perform. The two sixes, McTominay and Fred, who both got dropped during the game, they didn't perform. They didn't have the technical ability to transfer the ball to the areas that Rangnick wants, like the fullbacks high up the pitch, which we saw with our goal. Bruno done it as soon as he played in the number 6 position. He whipped the ball over to the right back and we scored. So those are the factors I think. But the physicality things is just standard for me. You're supposed to put it in 100%. You're supposed to work your bees off, that kind of thing. So I'm interested to have a discussion about it with you and the people in the comments. So what do you think?
I'm beginning to think they're too bloody lazy. I'm beginning to think that they're prima donnas. I just feel that, look, the first thing that I want to say is whether these things are true or false, I don't know. But there's rumors, obviously, we hear rumors all the time about the players are moaning about leaving training at 5 o'clock. Now, if they're used to getting home at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, fair play to them. That's a beautiful job that they've got. Job. Remember I say job. They're getting paid. It's a job.
Yeah.
They didn't want to work. They didn't want to put the work in. They wanted Ollie gone, who had them finishing at 12:30, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I don't know. But obviously, it wasn't dark when they were leaving. These men drive £150,000 cars with seats that are more comfortable than the seats I have in my house.
Heated seats as well.
Heated with massages. Yeah. So let's not get it twisted, Omondi. Let's not get it twisted, bro. There's no reason why these pampered prima donnas should be moaning about finishing at 5 o'clock. If they're not putting the work in, which I'm beginning to think that, all right, we always guessed about Ronaldo's pressing, not saying he can't do it, but his enthusiasm to do it at 36 when he's done everything he's done in the game already. I can understand him maybe not wanting to do it, but the rest of the players who have won nothing really, bar Jose. So the last Ollie period, all they gained was our love and our mistrust. They haven't done anything to prove that they should be treated like pampered prima donnas. So now Ralph has come in and said to them, I want you to run after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's fucking uproar.
I think these things can be a shock to the system. It's a shock to the system, especially if you're asked suddenly to do something you weren't required before. We've seen this with top managers. Look at Conte. He's come into Tottenhm and we've seen an improvement with them. And you can see it with the stats as well. I saw an interesting thing from Conte before and after. They're running more on the pitch. They're doing more, closing down more. They're pressing more. And these are clear indicators that they are doing a lot more in training. So you're either with the program or you're not. And I think the same applies with Rangnick. The difference being that we got, like you said, we have players on big wages who've been sort of in their comfort zone for a long time now. So players like Martial always felt he's been in his comfort zone. Is he suddenly going to be addressed this shock to the system? He probably goes to a girl who was mistress at 2 o'clock, and now he's got to stay at training until 5. Who knows? Yeah, I'm joking, but do you know what I mean? That's a speculation. But you know what these players are like. They want to go and play golf at 2 o'clock with the boys, and now suddenly they've got to be training until 5. This is what happens. I know Capello, for example, he's gone into clubs and suddenly they're training twice a day or 3 times a day. That kind of thing really affects the players. And that's when you filter out the men from the boys and the people that are really hungry and really want it. So I think this is a good experiment because now it will be highlighted exactly who is up for it and who's not. And with the example of Ronaldo that you gave, I think Ronaldo wants to finish off the work of the team. That's his role now. I think he believes he's got the quality. And if you really play it right, he's got the quality to finish off the work that the team does for him. But he's not. The frustration I'm seeing from him is not getting the right sort of quality of passing and possession, which he's getting frustrated about. You know, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. But I think you will wean out the ones who are not on it, and that's a good thing about it. Make them train. You know, like you said, they're professional players. They're getting paid a lot of money. If you have to train extra to get it right, then do it. And just enjoy it, you know. And like you said, it's important right now because we are really far behind. I'm looking at the league the other day, regardless of the games in hand. Man City are like almost 20 points ahead of us at this stage of the season. 2 games in hand. It's still not going to really close the gap. The league, and what's heartening though, is that we've seen teams like Liverpool still can lose, and teams will drop points, but to get in that top 4, we need to step it up now. And I'm happy. I think this is an experiment from Ralph to fine-tune the players and get the people the right attitude on board. And when he says physicality, I think that also comes from mentality as well. You've got to have the mentality to put that work in. And that's when all these extra staff come in, the psychologists, the team psychologists, that kind of thing, to really get the motivation. That's all about motivation and really get motivation out of players, you know. As well as having the technique and the technical ability to perform in this system.
So with this system, obviously we've seen you need to have a bit of everything as the 2 6s in regards to you've got to be able to pass, which Bruno did, as you said, you highlighted for the goal. Do you think then that Rangnick's going to have to spend money in January for us to push on? Because let's be honest, I expect Manchester United, me personally, to be a possession-based football team, or I would like us to become a possession-based football team. We gave the ball away 167 times against Newcastle. We can't be a possession-based team with the players we have.
Yeah.
Do you think that we need to change? Do you think he's seen enough? I know it's only been 4 weeks, but game-wise, it probably hasn't been enough to see them. I mean, look, it probably would have bought an extra 2 games. It might have been. Do you feel that he has to buy in January to keep because the players that he's got there don't understand or can't do what he wants them to do?
Yeah, I had a discussion with my brother the other day about this. I think I want Ralph to keep the system. Don't change the system for the players. Keep the system. I know he said himself that he has to look at the players first and everything else. Keep the system. I like the 4-2-2-2. It works because it's expansive. You can interchange the system if you've got intelligent players in game. Do you understand what I'm saying? So even if it starts as a 4-2-2-2, it can also, as we saw against Norwich, they can go to a 4-5-1, and when we're a goal up, for example, and change it in that respect. Also, there's like in the same like in boxing, you have people who are great in sparring, but they can never do it when the lights are on. And the same applies with training and match day. What we saw the other day in match day, Rashford, he's out of his element playing in that system as that role. He doesn't keep the ball. He's a certain guy who doesn't keep the ball. Greenwood as well. You have to play him up top, get him on the end of things. Don't expect these guys to get the ball and pop it off and keep the ball in their half. Keeping the ball in our own half is easy. You can have possession, pass it among your defenders in our own half. No pressure. Sometimes teams only press midway. But when you're in their half, which is what we want to do, which Ralph's philosophy, to keep the ball as far away from our goalkeeper as possible, you're going to be under pressure. You're going to be under a press. So this is why I do think what's being highlighted here now, our 2 number 6s don't have that ability under the press. They're looking for percentage passes. They're not going to take the risk because they don't have the ability to do it. Whether it's McTominay running towards his target, he sees someone he wants to pass to, he will drive with the ball towards them to close the gap to make it easier for him to make that pass. Or he would do a big turn to get it on his right foot to make that pass. He hasn't got the ability like someone like Thiago or someone like Fabinho or Henderson or Gundogan, who can just pop it off, already read the play, balls come to him, he's already seen what he wants to do, get out his feet and pop it off quickly. He hasn't got the ability to do that. And as for Fred, he really doesn't have that ability. He struggles. Everything looks a struggle for him to do that kind of, have that sort of game. So like what we saw with against Young Boys, he put 2 ball players in there in the 6s with Mata and Donny van der Beek. That to me suggests that he does want to see ball players in that position to pop it off. In that position. So you just need a balance. Someone who's technically gifted, who can get the ball out of their feet and play it quickly and play it sharply to our number 10s or to our fullbacks and get in their half under pressure in the opposition's half. Those are the sort of players we need. And as you said, we've discussed so many times the sort of talents that we've identified as number 6s, whether it be Kesse from AC Milan, whether it's be the Haidara, whether it be from Kamara from Marseille. All these guys have that calm, that poise, and the ability to get out of their feet and pass it. And that's what I think is really important in this system. So what do you think? Do you reckon we need, because I've identified midfielders as a desperate need to play there, or should play Mata and Donny van der Beek at the moment?
Well, I would play Donny in one of the positions. You know my feelings on McFred already, so I'm not going to go into it. I've said it so much times already. We definitely need one change, as in we've got a player in the squad who can play in either one of those positions. Just play the man. Give Donny the run now. Those players have been playing for 3 years and ain't pulled up. We've got a player in the squad, and then you go and buy another one. I have no problem with that. Because right now we've got nobody in the team who can play his formation. What Rangnick said today, which I thought was telling, in his press conference today, he said somebody brought up about Varane, the centre-back performance, and he said they were okay. But he actually highlighted the 2 number 10s as key positions as to why it's breaking down. He tried to make it a team thing, but he emphasized the 2 number 10s. And that's what I thought was really telling as well. Maybe, obviously, he wants to defend from the front. If you don't defend from the front, the ball's always going to come back. I understand that. But he highlighted the 2 number 10s and the fact that Sancho doesn't seem to be able to hold down a place in this team at the moment. and Bruno got moved, I'm wondering if maybe there would be the position, because he tried Greenwood in that position as well. So maybe that's a different position as well that he's looking at, and he can't seem to find the answer to in our squad.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's made me think, Mr. B. That's a good assessment. Yeah, you're probably right there, especially based on the game the other day, the 1-1 with Newcastle. He had Rashford or Greenwood, one of the two in there with Bruno. Apparently, Bruno gave the ball away 26 times during the game, which is not good enough. But when he played deeper, when people say, oh, he can't play that deep, he can play that deep because he's technically gifted enough. How many times see people rushing him when he's got that responsibility? We know him gives it away. We've got a break on. He won't do that. When he's playing higher up the pitch, you lose that sort of. You got you think you're a provider. You think you can afford to give the ball away because you've got two banks behind you to pick it up and turn it over again. You know, so Bruno is a possibility playing in the 6. And if that's the case, like you're saying, then maybe we do need to get some talented players in those 10 positions. I do think Sancho keeps the hold of the ball. I do think he's got the ability to do it. And drift out wide as well, because remember, with these number 10s, they do have to come out wide when we don't have the ball sometimes, maybe to close down the fullbacks, the raiding fullbacks. So they do have to have that ability to come wide. We often see Bruno coming out left and Sancho coming out right when they played in those 2 10s, just to cover off and cut the angle of the pass for their fullbacks, that kind of thing. So they do have to have that sort of in their game. But yeah, that's a good shout, Mr. B. I didn't occur to me because I was thinking we have Lingard, who might be sold because he wasn't in the squad the other day, who could play there. We've got Sancho, we've got Bruno, and we've got Donny van de Beek. But he's put in Rashford and Greenwood, and I don't think those 2 players should be fighting for the striker role in this system, as you say. I'm just basing it all on this system. That's all I can do. But that's a really interesting observation you made from what Rangnick was saying, because the fact is that Bruno did give the ball away 26 times, playing in number 10 the other day, and then Rashford, whoever was there, was terrible, in my opinion. On the eye, I don't know about his stats, but he doesn't keep the ball. He runs into traffic, doesn't pop it off when it's supposed to be popped off, that kind of thing. So that may be where his frustration lies from. I don't know what you think about that, but yeah, it's really good observation, bro.
I'm beginning to I said a lot of things you talk about eventually seem to come through. You've been calling Rashford a name that I won't call him ever, and I'm beginning to look at it now. And you see, when it's like Bruno at the moment, when there's an end product to something that you're doing, even if it's once a game, you probably tend to forget about the rubbish. Yeah. Now, when you're not producing at the end of it, look, since Ronaldo's come, Bruno's goals have dried up. Regardless if they were a penalty or a free kick or an assist or whatever, his goals have dried up. Rashford's goals, he scored 2 when he came back, and then he's dropped off a cliff again. I'm just not sure if mentally maybe these players are strong enough for OMONDI.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I think with Rashford, his goals, I think always better when he's running onto things, not him trying to create. Because I don't see his creative stats. I haven't seen his creative stats. I don't think he's got that. I get frustrated watching him. Because he gets the ball, he tries his little flicks. Maybe in training, he's the best at doing little ball juggling skills, that kind of thing, or nuts in a guy during that little training drill. And I mean, that can go to his head. But being effective, you can drop a shoulder and still be effective and doing the same thing than doing these little step overs or whatever he's trying to do. I don't think that's his game. He needs to run onto the end of things, use his pace, sort of similar to Michael Owen, and focus on that. You know, because the goals I see, he's running onto things, scoring, or just slotting it in through past the keeper. He was shooting from way outside the box the other day, and I'm thinking, why is shooting? Let's keep possession here. So that mental side of the game, yeah, I think there's a major issue for Rashford. He needs to improve that. Like I keep saying, he's got the pace and everything else, but the IQ needs to match up with that, and then he become a better player. Once he starts to use his pace and his IQ together, he will become a far better player. Look at Mbappe. And him and Mbappe are sort of similar age, similar pace, but Mbappe's got a far better IQ. That's why he's producing, and that's why he's more of a threat every game. It must be embarrassing when you watch players who are compared to Rashford, like Mane and Saint Maximum, for example. They look far more effective than him. You know, and this is the truth. This is the truth of it. So as much as we endorse Rashford, he still needs to improve at his age. He still needs to. What's been going on for the last few years about his mental side of the game and improving and being effective. I don't see enough there, you know, and that's an area where he needs to sharpen up. Otherwise, he's going to be a bench player under a manager like Ralph.
Rangnick.
Well, for me, yeah.
I mean, I've got one. There's one here from James. Sorry, welcome, James. Fred and McTominay looked like the Chucker brothers against Newcastle. Absolutely shocking. No idea about the basics of the game. I asked a question earlier on about Rangnick, whether he would need to buy in January. If he doesn't get to buy, these are two questions I'm going to ask you, Jay, if you're still listening. One, is there anybody in the squad who can replace those two positions? And if you had to buy, who would you buy? Just for you, James. I'm sure. Did I just hear a book? Did I just hear?
Yeah. It was.
Oh, okay, fair enough. No problem. But yeah, that was just for you to James. That's just completely thrown me off here. We've got one here from Talk. Now, for Talk to be talking about Mason Greenwood in any sort of negative, let us get this. Let us just put this into perspective. People in the comments. Talk MU wants to adopt Mason Greenwood. Yeah, he said he wants to adopt Mason Greenwood. So that's how much you must understand that he loves him. So for him to be saying Rashi and Mason don't have the finesse to make the kind of devastating passes, I think there's an issue. So are we saying then that on Monday that we think he's saying that Rashford and Greenwood are definitely playing in the wrong positions to suit their skill set?
Yeah, I believe so. Like you said, I think TalkMU is known to everyone here. One of our regular panelists, he's always endorsing Rashford and Mason because he likes the youth players coming through. And for him to say this, it suggests that game the other day, they didn't have their best performance, and it's just highlighted again that they don't have the ability to really sort of provide. When we were playing Mason Greenwood wide, which is not his ideal position, he's how many times did he create for us? He's had one assist this season, you know, and sometimes that can just be a layoff or something like that. I think it was the goal against Spurs, maybe with Cavani or Bruno when they laid it off into the box. He played a pass or something like that. But yeah, these guys don't have that sort of ability. That's not forced. It's forced, you know. It's kind of forced for them. It's not a natural thing. Sancho is a much better fit, and Bruno for that kind of thing. Playing those sort of getting the ball, be able to turn, read the game, and put a place or progressive passes and into the stride. I think Rashford was playing some heavy passes the other day, which Ronaldo wasn't happy about. There's one cross from from Greenwood, sorry, which went beyond Ronaldo as well. So it didn't put enough ball spin on it, or you know, like what Bruno might do. So a bit of more quality there is definitely required. And then Ronaldo will be scoring. Ronaldo didn't have any chances. I mean, we got one of the best players in the world apparently, and we're not feeding him any chances. So how are you going to create anything? How are you going to score goals in that sort of thing? We're getting back to forcing goals, which we don't want to get to. We want to score how we scored the other day, which was a definite pattern of play. Fullbacks camp them in the half. Get some quality in the sixes where they can play the ball out quickly to the wide fullbacks who are hugging the touchline, which was Dalot in this case. He gets down the line, crosses the ball across the 6-yard box, and then Cavani's there to finish his dinner. That's very simple, you know. And if you think so, what in 90 minutes we can only do that once or twice. Eventually, we started to push for that a bit more. We had a few more balls played across 6-yard box. But for me, with this system, that's how we're going to score our goals, and that's what we keep having to force the issue with that sort of goal, or that sort of possession. And with Fred and McTominay, they kept passing it back or passing it sideways because they didn't have the ability to get on the ball and whip these balls, quick balls, into areas which will start to cause opposition team worries. Like this comment,
James. Yeah, James has answered. We have Garner out on loan. He should be given a chance in there. It's not worked with the pair for years. We understand that. They've been blinded by him. Transfer market wise, someone like Savic from Lazio, he's got the energy of Fred and the quality. I'm going to assume he's got the energy of Fred, but he's got quality. That's what I'm going to say. Thanks for the answer, James.
Yeah,
thanks for the answer.
That's a great response about Ghana. We got a player on our books who can do that job as a number 6, what we require in this system.
Okay, do you think? See, he's not at the problem is is he at Forest? He's out on loan at Forest,
yeah,
right?
Forest again.
He won't be able to see him. You know what I mean? He won't be able to see him, and this is the problem that I've got. We may well have him, on our books, but until Rangnick physically gets to see, and that's why I feel like Alanga has been promoted, because younger players listen to instructions. I just feel, you look at, I mentioned them on the show, but you look at Arsenal, the older heads weren't listening to what Arteta was talking about.
Yeah.
You've got the younger heads who have a level of respect for him and will go out of their way to do the job he is asking. And you can see that it's working. So again, it goes back to these players being bloody lazy, OMONDI.
You know what, Mr. B, that's another great example, because Ralph is about development of players. He's always, if you look at the quality of players he's trying to bring in, they're always young, which means he can develop them. What he's finding now, he's coming to a side with a few clicks, few egos, players who've been there and done that, like Cavani, like Ronaldo. I'm not saying these guys are responsible, but older players, you know, how can you develop them? It's like trying to tell Ronaldo to do something. Ronaldo's probably thinking, look, I've got 5 Champions League, I've won the Ballon d'Or. You know, who you chat to? It would have to be Jesus Christ himself to come and chat to Ronaldo. Or Ronaldo might actually be like, okay, you might have something. Or Pele, or someone to turn up and train and say, try this, and be okay, all right, that sounds good. You know, very, you know, so even though Ralph is respected, I think he admits himself, he gets better development from younger players. So yeah, it would be an ideal, as we see with the players that we're targeting for transfers, to get players that he can develop and he feels he can get some reaction from.
Again, see, there's so much players talking about our negativity in here. What do we have to do to change this whole situation? What is going on? I mean, somebody's put up here, Ralph from Box. Welcome, Box. Thank you for the comment, man. Ralph's gonna get thrown under the bus. I'm gonna say something too. This is just between us on Monday. Ralph, he's been told, or the players are under the impression he's there for 6 months and then they're going to get somebody else in. Do you think that that's a mistake? These players aren't going to want to work for him because they know they're going to outstay him.
I think what we're seeing now, we start to see cracks. When a new manager comes in, you have that honeymoon period, and then I think what I'm really liking though is that we're having those questions already. A 1-1 draw, and all the knives are out already. It seems, you know, from the media and from the fans as well. The fans don't seem to be happy. I like it though, because it's showing me that he's doing something. He's being quite firm, and something they're not used to. It's like I was saying earlier about the shock factor, that these players have to change their attitude, have an attitude adjustment to still get with the program. He's in charge now. He's the boss, and I don't think he's a carer of egos or reputations. He's going to say, like you said earlier, about 5 o'clock training. If that's what it takes, then you will wean out all the bad apples. And then maybe there is a few bad apples at this club at the moment, because they've been pampered. They've been spoon-fed for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you know, since Fergie left. They can breathe again because Fergie's not there. Moyes came in. All right, yeah, who is this guy? He's a joker. We've done this, we've done that. You know, that kind of, it's been like that. It's been like that. And then what you see now, I love hearing stories about, say, Brian Clough, for example, who me is my favourite manager of all time. No disrespect to Fergie, but he's my favourite manager, because he would bring you down a level. He had that psychological thing. He'd bring you down a level, and he'd bring in young players. Young players would play for him. Like Des Walker came to him at 16, 17, after not getting any games anywhere. But he was made to clean boots. He was made to sort of be a bit humiliated and that kind of thing. And that's what's required. When you look at Wan-Bissaka, Wan-Bissaka was a raw, good talent. And he's come there. He's got speeding fines. He's got big motor. He's driving around. What are they getting up to in their spare time, you know? Remember what Fergie used to do with Lee Sharp and Ryan Giggs? He used to find out where they were, raving and doing whatever during that era, the rave era of the early 90s. And it's put a stop to that. One made it. One decided, I still want to be that playboy, do his little Elvis thing. And we can see how their careers progress like that. So it's really important that you really need to be humble. And like you said, bring back that strictness and humility back into the players, where they realise they're doing it. It's a short career. You can't mess around at a place like Manchester United. It's not a playboy club. We've become the Spice Boys, what Alex Ferguson feared when he watched Liverpool in '95, you know, or sorry, '96 FA Cup final. God, we've become exactly that.
Do you think it can change?
Yeah, it's changing. What we're seeing now is change. This is why there's all these cracks appearing now. It is changing because Ralph won't allow it.
So the next manager who comes in, regardless of whether it's Ralph or not, is going to stick to his principles. He's going to weed out the same players that Ralph had an issue with. This is the part that I'm more worried about.
Yeah.
Andrew Williams said, Jesus Christ.
Very true.
You've taken the words out of OMONDI's mouth there. I'm not going to fault that now. I'm Rashford's. I love Rashford to death, but at the moment he's having an absolute stinker. We got 19 people watching. I don't know how much likes we are, but you know, Solo's he's a terrible workaholic. Everybody
he's a fiend for it. He's a fiend for likes.
Just hit that like button for me, please. Hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Please share. Please hit that notification bell. We're here. We are the Man United Agenda. So, what else did we have to talk about? The game later, we're not going to talk about. We've got a whole review. We've got a whole review show for that. So if you want to hear our opinions on that, you will.
Can I say something as well?
Yeah.
When we talk about physicality, like you're talking about the game later, and you were saying about Maguire maybe. You're talking about Maguire maybe being dropped. I think Maguire is required against Chris Wood. I mean, I would rather see Maguire against Chris Wood than Lindelof or Bailey.
Would you? Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. We know that Bailey's been flown back from the African Cup of Nations. Do you feel that he's been brought back to start?
No, I think sometimes it's essential you have two goalkeepers one on the bench. You wouldn't start. I mean, Neil Warnock, I think, used to do that. Wouldn't play a keeper on the bench, just risk it, you know. But being professional, you need to have an extra centre back on the bench. You can't rely on Matic or someone like that to fill in. That's not professional, because then the question marks will be asked. We're a professional club, 25-man squad. We need to have all these players there. So to ask him to come back, even if it's on the bench, that's crucial. It's just about being professional. What do you think? Do you think there's a bit of liberties, don't you?
Yeah, I do think it's the liberties. I'm going to leave it at that before I go into a whole other rant with swearing words in. I'm going to leave it at that. But yeah, I do think they're taking the piss. I'm not happy. Where were we on here? Sorry. Yeah.
Just to add as well, all these rumours about Ronaldo, I think it's low. It's founded on nothing. It's just paper talk. People chat and breeze. Football, was it the Deportivo Mundial, whatever the Spanish thing? I think it was an April Fool's joke. It's got to be a joke. There's no way that he's had a conversation with PK asking Xavi to set him up. It's just, come on, it's nonsense, isn't it? I think Xavi's signing Dani Alves. It's like he's signing he wants to play in a vets league, like your brother set out, thing. Next thing you know, Barcelona will be playing against Jamrock or something, in the vets league down here. I don't know. But, you know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. He's looking for Cavani, he's looking for these older players, and now he's talking about Ronaldo. It's just a joke to me. There's nothing. It's not founded on anything, so you can't take that seriously.
What I think's happening at the moment is the press can see that there's a crack in the club, a big crack in the club, and everybody's trying to get their little piece in, be the first to say Ronaldo's going to leave in January. Cavani's going to go in January. I'll be honest, the way that Cavani's been playing, I don't think he should be going. I think they should be moving heaven and earth to keep Cavani fit to play for us until the end of the season. Because if he doesn't play, he scored 8 goals. He scored the most goals away from home for us this season. And Cavani's hardly played any football. He's hardly played any football. So you try and keep the players who you feel work to your style. Why would you be trying to get? I understand he didn't want to. He wasn't playing. He wasn't playing under Ollie. Rangnick needs to convince him in this 4 weeks that we've got here that he's got a future at Man United, even if it's till the end of the season, and then he goes with our blessing. Because we've got a lot of players. He's got everything that all the other strikers don't have. Yeah, he's got a desire to work. If we had 11 players on the pitch who had not even his work rate, it's not just but his desire to do the right thing on the football pitch.
He's quality, real quality player. Last of a dying breed, these classic number 9s, you know, Cavani. I mean, we've had Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Sorry, excuse me. I always call him. That's why I always call him Zlatan. I struggle. We had Zlatan, also decent, really good player for us. Had a season and a bit and done the business, you know, scored goals. The same with Cavani. If he was fit and continued with a run of games, we would really see his quality in and around the box and working and hustling. And he's a great influence and a great professional and can score with his head as well. He's got it all, a really quality player. And I think he's grown on all the fans. No one can deny that he's a real inspiration out there for us. And what he did the other day, coming on and scoring that goal, he was in position to do that. And obviously he got the rebound. His initial shot didn't go anywhere, but he got the rebound and slotted it home. And he also had other opportunities when the ball was played across the 6-yard box, where he was always there. That's what he knows about. So if we play to our strengths, whoever's up front will get chances. But that's the problem. We're not doing that at the moment.
Okay, sorry. I'd just like to address this. This is the second person who's mentioned this in the comments. This is not a West Ham shirt. It is not a fucking West Ham shirt. This is my Saturday football team shirt, Old Menorins FC. It is not a West Ham shirt. Thank you. Sorry, Omondi.
I think I need lessons how to pronounce Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Listen, I knew what you meant. They knew what you meant, and we haven't got King Clipper here, so I haven't heard it. You don't have to worry. I didn't hear a thing. We're on that Christmas period where every mistake we make, it doesn't matter. Rebel is unavailable. He won't kill us. Don't worry. We're allowed.
Oh dear.
We're allowed.
Let me have it, guys. Let me have it.
Oh God.
Oh boy. That's funny.
So, have we ranted for long enough? I think we have.
We can do it all day. Like Captain America, we can do this all day, you know? But yeah, we've got a show later on tonight. So yeah, we can go, we can continue from there. But like, I like
appreciated. I'll let you finish. Go on.
So big up Natasha. I haven't seen Natasha Snowden in the chat before. She says, get rid of Fred McTominay, Dallo. Oh, don't get that Dallo. And Maguire. Oh, no, 2 I agree with, 2 I don't. But welcome to the show. I don't want to have to bump heads with you, Natasha. But I do agree, Fred McTominay not at a level. But Dallo and Maguire, I do want to keep. I rate them. But welcome to the show. Big up. And you're saying Glazer's out and Woodward out. Yeah, that's the ethos here. Ibra. What about Zlatan? If I just call him Zlatan as well, guys. Yeah. From now on, don't be asking me any questions about Zlatan, that guy, you know. Just leave it as that. I'll pass it over to Mr. B. That was really embarrassing.
Don't worry about it. As I said already, we don't have King Clipper here. We're allowed to make mistakes. We will be back later. We do have a review show where we won't be discussing any of this. This was an extra show to get something off my chest, Amondi's chest, Matthew Bassett's chest, Natasha Snowden's chest, Box's chest, TalkMU's chest. There was a couple who I've forgotten on here. If I have forgotten
Stephen Jinx
that you've given, Steve, that's the one. That is the one, because you even hit the like button, so I know that subscribe button's been hit as well.
And how many likes have we got? I mean, everyone who's watching now, press the like button for the Man United agenda and press the alarm button as well so you know when we're coming on next so you can tune in. We are the most authentic Man United channel out there. Let's go. Rebel Reds. Yes, man.
That's the one.
Probably sideways pass emergent. Yeah, totally. Scared. This is what I'm saying. These players are scared to play that progressive pass because they know they're going to fail. It's a big club. You have to perform. But you're a professional player. Learn it. Learn how to do this, or if you can't do it, just play in a different position. Or he used to be a centre back, didn't he? Or he used to be up front, but he hasn't got that in his game at the top level. When we're playing in the opposition half, when we're under pressure to be able to perform those sort of passing. So no.
What is this? Bruno's out with a suspension. I did hear that, So that means that. Listen, I tell you what. This show tonight, If you want to tune in and see Solo's team prediction, 8 o'clock tonight, you will be impressed or you will be in hysterics, because I'm going to be under the impression that he would have put Bruno in his team just out of a Soloism. But everybody in the chat, thank you for being here. You could have had something else to do, but you didn't. You chose to be with us, the Man United agenda, as always. This is what we appreciate. What we appreciate. We will be back at 8 o'clock. Me, Omondi. You want to 8? You back on later, Omondi?
I would never miss the show. Never miss a show.
Right. So
I could be on in a hospital bed and I'd still be setting up my camera. I'm here, man.
Me, Omondi, Solo. I know he's itching to have a chat and talk. If you're out there, jump on, man. We've got a lot to talk about. So the preview show, 8 o'clock this evening. It's going to be a good one. Don't miss it. We are the Man United agenda.